So first, what Paris does, by giving us Articles 7 and Articles 4 and Articles 5 and 6, which help us to understand the commitments that are being made in this treaty on adaptation and on mitigation, whether it's about using forest for mitigation or as a sink, whether it's about taking into account of and collaborating on insurance for loss and damage as part of your adaptation. These commitments are backed by a commitment to massively mobilize and direct climate finance. Now, I actually find that quite exciting, this idea of directing finance. I don't know if many of you hang out with a lot of people in the City of London, but I don't see a lot of directing going on by even governments of finance. But I see a recognition in this treaty at Article 9 that the financial resources that are needed are going to have to come from the economy as a whole, and they're going to have to be redirected from where they're going currently. Now, I know not everybody participates in divestment decisions, nor should you have to, but if we are looking at this as an actual transformation of the world economy towards something that over time peaks and then goes down in terms of the amount of emissions that it generates, a low carbon, carbon constrained, green economy, whatever you want to call it, then yeah, some of that finance that is currently going to carbon intensive investment is going to have to be redirected. And the Paris Treaty recognizes that. It also then talks about even other parties, developing countries, Article 9.3 and 9.2, providing financial support themselves voluntarily. And here's another anecdote for you to make it real. So there I was in the middle of, I can't remember, I think it must have been Cameroon. And there was a parliamentarian who kept boots, Wellington boots, behind his desk because he was in charge of disasters, national disasters. He explained, "I'm Monsieur le Catastrophe." I said, "Wow, that must make you popular in Parliament." And he said, "Well, they know I know all about it." And he puts on the boots when he gets a call, and he goes out there, and he's the parliamentarian who's talking about, okay, this is a major problem. We've just had all of this flooding. We've just lost these 3 coastal communities. And he was in Parliament arguing for the national budget to be putting 14% of its resources toward adaptation to climate change. And he got it. This is a country with however many percentage today. I haven't read the Human Development Report from December 15th with regards to Cameroon, but we're looking at over 30% below the poverty line in any number that you're looking at. And you're looking at unemployment that's high enough to create revolutions in France. And they're still dedicating 14% of their national budget toward adaptation. Why? Because it's survival. Okay? And they want to make sure that those resources, which they are spending from their limited tiny pot, are spent on effective mechanisms. That is part of what Article 9 really means. It goes beyond taking it seriously. So this transparency, global stock taking, and peer review, the mechanisms that are set up, not just by Article 13 with the transparency provisions, but also by the related aspects of the adoption decision and by Article 14 on the global stock take, essentially mean that not only do we put the national contributions in their written form submitted by countries to the UNFCCC Secretariat online and we make them available to everyone, but we sit down as countries together and we say, okay, this is still at 3.4 degrees, and if we don't do something according to the IPCC and our other scientists, you'll be the US president who loses Florida. We better announce that right away, shall we? And then they discuss how we can get a little bit tighter in our national contributions to maybe not be that guy or lady, right? And that happens for every country. So the